Handla, Yadak Chop, good evening. I'm Josh Question Kip. It's a great honor to be here today to come and talk a little bit about teachings that are passed down during the winter season. Many, many moons ago, our people lived in sheepskins, pit homes, and a lot of the families stayed together. And during the winter season, that is when the grandparents, the elders, talked to the young people about what was expected of them in their life, whether they were going to be hunters, fishers, gatherers, warriors, what it to be, how it was to be a father, to be a mother. And a lot of times the elders would get the young people and sit them down beside them and share stories with them. A lot of the creation stories that have been in our way of life for thousands of years, a lot of the stories that are shared have morals to the story. And they have a lot of teachings. They do their best to pass down the teachings that they received from their ancestors. But today, that is sad to say, it's really not being practiced anymore. But it's more like an everyday thing. You have hunters out there, like I have nephews that hunt. They go out and they take their children with them. They take their nephews with them, their nieces with them. Because now women are allowed to hunt, and more women are hunting. I guess it was like that back in the old days too, but they were more hunting for the rabbits and the smaller game, whereas the deer and the bears and the moose and the elk were left for the men. But when the elders came and they were starting to talk, I just learned this yesterday that when I was talking with my sister, and she was saying that yay, or the elders would tell them, she'd go, listen to what they're saying. Another one would be, watch what they're doing. Then she'd go, listen with your heart. And if it wasn't meant for the young people to learn, she'd point and tell them, you have to go. Because the old people, when they sat down, they talked about families, who they were related to. They talked about the seasons. They talked and they shared about certain plants when they started to bloom and blossom. The one that I know is the mock orange. When white flowers come out, that the salmon are here. There are many different things that I've learned from my elders. The one I learned from Byron's dad was when it's going to rain. You look at the silver willow. He said, you look at the silver willow, when it's going to rain, the leaf will turn upside down and curl up. And then you know it's going to rain. Another one was that Uncle Louis said, you watch the swallows. When the swallows come fly really low, you know it's going to rain. It's like the barometer is really low. So that's what we call our barometer. And he said when the birds are flying really high, that it's not going to rain. But the hunting seasons, there was a person that knew exactly where everyone hunted. And that person would say, okay, you go hunt over here at this time. You leave this area alone. You go hunt over here. Or if they were berry picking, they were harvesting medicines, did the same thing. So that way, that one area wouldn't get overpicked or get overhunted. And those are some of the things that were shared during the winter season when there was everybody was stuck inside. So that is when the teachings came down, and it is up to the parents to teach their children. So it was a multi-generational. The elders talked, the parents talked, and it was up to the young people to make the time to sit and listen. Today, I must say that really isn't a fact anymore. Sad to say that our youth are getting sidetracked with all that technology that is out there. But technology is good also. It's a learning tool. If they're not on their games, maybe they're Googling something and checking something out. Because sometimes somebody will say something and they don't really quite understand, so they'll Google it and they learn that way, which is another good thing with the technology today. It's good to be able to adapt, because there's not very many elders in our territory anymore. There are very few. It's sad to say that I'm acknowledged as an elder, but I always like to say, no, I'm too young. I'm an elder in training. I learned a lot from our mom in Coyote, Rising Star. Her name was Mildred Michell. And I had the opportunity to learn from her the last 20 years of her life. Same as my partner, Coyote, Pauline Michelle. Her daughter, Salam Tetko, had the opportunity to be taught when she came of age. That she took Tony Lynn in and trained her for a whole year. And because Pauline was a mother, she also had to sit down and learn. And a lot of these things were talked about during the winter time. A lot of the ceremonies, coming of age ceremonies, weddings were a little bit different. There really wasn't any wedding ceremony. Just from what I was told by my sister, said in the old days, if you were going to get married, the elders would call the man and the woman, put their hands, and said, now you're married. It's not like today where they make a big ceremony out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. But in those days, they told you who you were related to. And that if you were seeing somebody and you were related to them, they would tell you, no, that's your relative. And a lot of times back in the old days, a lot of the weddings were, the grandparents got together and they said, okay, my grandson's going to marry your granddaughter. They were prearranged. And things are different today. I kind of miss the old days. It wasn't as fast-paced as it is today. It seemed like everybody's rushing. Sometimes you got to stop. Look where you are. Look to where you've been. And to look to the future. Because we don't know what the future holds for us. But today, we know who we are and what we're doing. Today, I'm here doing my best to talk about the winter season and how the teachings were passed down, songs were passed down. Today, that doesn't happen too much. But maybe it's time to really look at that and maybe bring it back. The hunters, the fishers, the harvesters. And I do see it happening. They have the fish camps, the hunting camps. I haven't heard anything about a harvesting camp yet to be able to go out and pick medicines and work with it. I know John Mack, or Jack Mack, works a lot with the medicines. And he makes medicines. Same with my brother, Will Melch Morris. So there are people out there that do work with the medicines, and they do do their best to teach the young people. I know Jack has gone out and he's worked with some medicines and taught the young people about making a medicine. And there are other people in our territory too that share with the medicines. Like I say, it was winter times. That's when it was all shared and talked about and taught. Today we all live in a square box. In the old days, we lived in a sheepskin, a roundhouse. There were no shadows. You could see everybody. It is warm in the winter and cool in the summer. There's a big sheepskin could probably hold 6 families comfortably. And during the winter times, that's when all the young people were taught and trained how to do certain things, the ceremonies that came with the hunting, the fishing, the harvesting. Today, there's a death in our family, and it's a mother. And I talked to the young girls the other day, and I told them, I've been taught that when you lose a mother, that is when you are the most powerful. That hunters may come and talk to you and say, come with us. Come and help us. So when they go hunting, they get something, then the child will come and pray and do something with the deer, and pray and ask that the deer be plentiful, same as the fish and the berries. So there are many different things that I've learned over the years, outside winter and during the winter. I listened to my sisters, my brothers, because they all had the teachings from Yay. Wintertime, she sat them down on the floor in the living room, and she told them stories and how to do things. Today, they're remembering. It's my sister the other day, she said she was talking to somebody and they said something. All of a sudden she could remember when Ye was talking about listening with the eyes and the ears, and if it wasn't meant for you. Because like I say, today, we're fast-paced. Elders, some of them may feel uncomfortable talking to the young people because they will feel intimidated, or the young people might say, oh, that's the old ways, that's no good. But the young people don't realize it's the old ways that make us who we are. So I do my best to share with my children things that I learned from their grandmother. But we do the best that we can with the teachings that are passed down. It's different today because elders are put in old age homes. The families don't look after them. So when they go to these old age homes, elder homes, they don't have an opportunity to pass down their teachings that they received when they were young in the pit house in the winter time. So winter time is the most important time of the year. That's when the teachings were passed down. I wish I knew more, but I only can talk about what I was taught. But I know there are other people out there that have had more experience listening to their grandparents. I grew up without grandparents, so I don't know. But I know my brothers and sisters all grew up with Yay, and other people out there grew up with their grandparents. Grandparents are important. Don't ignore them. Listen to what they have to share. Because once they're gone, they're gone. It's like we lose a library. All the knowledge that they acquired over their days of life is gone. So listen when you have an opportunity. Listen to your grandparents. Go and visit them. Make the time. Cherish them. Because some of them are in their winter season. They're getting close to going and joining their ancestors that have gone on before us. But sometimes, they may be gone, but they'll come in a dream and they'll share something with you, and you'll remember. And they're still passing down the teachings through the dreams or through vision quests. Or somebody will come up and talk to you and say, "Oh, I remember, this is what your grandmother shared with me. I discovered in my journey that children don't listen. They watch. They watch with their eyes. They watch what you do. They mimic what they see. They watch how you act. They watch how you respond. They're really good at reading your body language. So it's important to make the time for the young people, the elders that are out there. Make the time. And you young people, you make the time for your elders. And when they go, they're going to be gone, and everything that they've learned is gone with them. So I'm really grateful and thankful for the teachings that I got about the winter season, and the teachings and the stories that were passed down. Give thanks to my brothers and my sisters for sharing with me what our grandmother shared with them. This is a good time because we're all stuck indoors, and because of COVID, we're forced to stay home. So make that time and listen. Ask your elders. Share with them. Just sit with them. Make time for them. Have tea with them. Have a meal with them, and get them to share a little bit of their life, because you'll be surprised at the knowledge that they have. I love all the elders that I have in my life, and I'm so grateful for the spiritual teachers that I have, because they made me who I am today. I'm grateful to my mother, our mother in Coyote, Rising Star, for the opportunity to have spent the last 20 years of her life with her, learning. Grateful for my wife, to be able to sit down and do the teachings with her. So it's carrying on. So I'm thankful that my friend here came to share a little bit and hear a little bit about what the winter season is for me, the teachings that are passed. So, Cook's Gem, all my relations.